Boy, that's sweet. I've done angle grinding and cutting those panels out. Oh, that's terrible. All the ringing in your ears and this is so much nice. Spend the extra couple hundred. Spend the extra couple $100 on Amazon. Go get yourself a plasma cutter and just go to town. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, so like I said, once you get the temperature, the amperage set right, and the air pressure set right, man, that's just like butter going through there. Anyway, I'm gonna go back and have some fun. Don't forget to refill your iced tea and sit back on the couch and watch me sweating this. God, it's 95 degrees with 60% humidity. Whoever wants to live in Texas? Did you think that my ladder was on that plate and the plate was going to drop and I was going to fall on my face? Ha! Good luck on that one. There you go. Just like cutting butters. Anyway, so as you can kind of see, it's a little ragged. You know, if you look up on top there, I did a lot better job at the end. So I'm looking forward to doing the other door here, because I bet I can, now that I got a little experience on this thing, I can do a little bit of that. There's a couple areas that I burned through. Here I burned through here, and I burned through right there. That's about it. Like I said, this is kind of the first time I really did it. But anyway, so I'm kind of excited about my plasma cutter. It's raining. They did say it was gonna rain. I waited out a little bit. So you guys are waiting for me to fall off yet? Yeah, good luck with that. Hey, how many tightrope walkers do you know that can grind on a container? Well, that's weird. So it's easier to balance yourself on the hinge side, because I guess when you get out a little further away from the hinges, there's more play. So every time I go to grind, the door, once the centrifugal force of the blade tends to push the door out. So I'm sitting here trying to balance myself. But on the other side where the hinges are, it's really easy. So that's okay. I guess the reason we all watch NASCAR, right, and the Indy 500, we were looking for the crashes, right? So good luck with that. So this is what it looks like after we plasma cut it. And then I took a angle grinder and grinded some of the burrs off of it. So then I threw on some primer just to keep it from rusting. So all in all, pretty good deal. You can't really see the outline that well, which is what I was looking for. Looks like there's a couple holes. We knew about those earlier. I showed you where the plasma cutter had, I got a little sloppy on the plasma cutter, but I'll go through and weld that up and it shouldn't be a big deal. So Anyway, that's what it looks like. I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty helpful when people kind of explain to you or to me or who are the audience what tools they're using and why they use the tools that they use. So I wanted to kind of touch base. Earlier I had mentioned to you I'm using both the Hitachi and the Black & Decker. Anyway, I personally, you know, after using both of the tools, I personally like the Hitachi better. And I think the reason why is I like the changing out the blades. I like the lock on it a little better. And also I like the way the on and off switch here. You can go and lock it into place, and then you can cut or do whatever you need to do. The Black & Decker has down here on the hand, and what happens is when you go to keep it on auto, where it just stays on, you just barely touch it and it goes off. So I really like the Hitachi better if I had the choice between the two. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about, great, it's gonna start raining again. In that you do a video and it starts raining. Now let's see if it stops or not, right? So the difference between a plasma cutter and the angle grinder, I think the difference really between the two, which one's better, I don't think there's a which is better kind of him or her or us against them kind of a thing. I think when it comes to these angle grinders, these go away really quickly. They tend to wear down, and they're really delicate, and if you just get sideways in it, it just chews it up. I think in some circumstances, I think the angle grinder is a better tool to cut out things. And then the plasma cutter by far away is better in other aspects. I think if you're gonna go down the wall of the cutout windows in the container, I really think that the plasma cutter will work really a lot better. But then when it comes to these doors and little corners of I think sometimes this is gonna be better. So I definitely like the plasma cutter because you don't have to wear earplugs with the plasma cutter. And if you're in there cutting, you know, you got a lot of echoing and it gets really noisy. And then a lot of times all these pieces, the shards, will hit you on your arms and your face, and you really need to have a shield, full shield, and then long sleeves on your arms. But you know, it's so hot out here, it's really hard. You'd die if I had all that protective equipment. So I hope this is helpful. Sometimes this is good, sometimes the plasma cutter. I don't regret buying the plasma cutter at all, not at all. And you're always gonna need an angle grinder. So, you know, always buy the best tools for the money. Don't chintz out on that stuff. Hey, you're saving money on labor fees from a contractor half the time. So go and spend the extra money on the tools and get some good tools. Again, I'm not being sponsored by Hitachi, but you know, if I was, hey, good, you know, there you go. But looks like we have a little gap right in here. I'll probably either shorten this angle iron, or I'll get in here with a grinder and make this weld more flush. That's the concept. And then when we put that angle iron, it'll be nice because when that angle iron comes in up here, it'll cover up these holes real nice. So it is so hot and humid right now. I know, Randy, stop complaining. You're the one decided to go build a home in the middle of Texas. You can't see. The water, sweat drips down from your brow. I got to put a headband or something on. Can't see what's going on. So those steel pieces, angle iron, it's kind of hard to cut. I'm using just a regular cutoff saw you know, those miter boxes that you buy at the box store. It's an old Delta one. I've had it since I was in high school. Another one that's been sitting around, right? God, look at my hands, my arms are sweaty. It's time for a sweet tea. So it gets a little burr on the ends. So you have to kind of file off the, you know, grind down the burrs. You probably, it's gonna be a weird cut because you got to cut a little bit undersized, but you don't want to cut it too undersized because you got to get it to fit in there. And then the corners, you probably got to round off the corners. So that's what I'm doing right now. So we'll see how that goes. You guys drinking enough sweet tea, watching me sweat? And I am just coated in sweat. And I think I'm gonna do the welding and stuff later on today when the sun sets. It's almost high noon here and it is just one hot dickens. What are you doing now, Randy? Well, I thought I'd do some welding. How's that sound? I'm no expert, but I'm having some fun. Hey, so what I'm doing is there's kind of two ways, and I'll show you in a little bit. I'll take this camera over there and I'll show you a close-up. But I kind of want to finish what I'm doing now, so I have more to talk to you about. But what I'm doing, there's really two ways to do this, right? You can build your frame, put your angle iron on the ground, and then build your frame and then put your frame in. But you know, that never works. I've done this before and the frame never seems to go into the hole because sometimes the door's been banged around and it's not square and it's warped or something. So and there's different welds in different places and it just doesn't always fit. So what I'm doing is I'm taking each piece and cutting them customly fit to that corner or that side. And so by doing that, it's all going to be, I don't really care if it's square. What I care about is it's square to the door. So it's because it could be square on the ground, but not square to the door, if that makes any sense. So right now I'm just putting some tacks on, get the thing fitted right so it doesn't all fall in on me. And then later I'll fill in, and now that it's gotten a lot cooler and it's not raining at this moment, now I can just put some tack welds, kind of stand back, look at it and see if that's what I want. Because you can always grind it off, right? And then start all over again. So, and then I'll talk about the tools that I'm using, the welder and whatnot. So let me get back to work. So the problem that I'm having on these things is this corner, where's my finger at? There it is. This corner piece right here, there's a weld right here. And that weld that corner right there gets in the way of that weld. And what happens is it creates too much of a gap between these areas here. I don't want a big gap there for a couple of reasons. I don't want to weld a big gap there. Plus it could cause a leak. So I just put, the 45s are off a little bit, but that's okay because I'm gonna weld that, right? So we tacked 2 spots there, and then I tacked a spot there. Again, the 45s are off a little bit. I'm not too concerned about it. After I fix the welder, I'm gonna finish that top rail up there because I wanna tack it into place first before I put that other rail in there. My big concern is, if you look here, right here, you don't see much gap there, do you? And that's what I want. I want to keep that gap really small. And then I want to keep, if you look at this side, there's a, there, right there. There's a gap right there. I can push that closed like that. See how it closed up? So I'm not too worried about it. I had a big problem up in their corner. Again, there's a big glob of weld up there. And it's kind of hard to grind that corner there because the wheels don't reach in there very well. So anyway, also you might be thinking, why did I decide on 1.5 inch angle iron? Well, if you look at the thickness of the door, it's almost as thick as the angle iron, right? And so if you look right there, it's not tacked on yet. Let me go to the other side here. If you look on this side, I've got it almost really flush. I don't have to have it flush perfectly, but it's pretty doggone close to being flush. There's probably 2 ways to run these angle irons. You can run them angled the way they are or reversed. And so if you're gonna run them reversed, then that means when you put the IG unit, you're gonna put the IG unit, you know, from the inside. You're gonna glue it or how you're gonna attach it to the inside of the door. But I decided I want to attach the glass to the outside. And so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have about 1 inch thickness of glass, you know, insulated unit here, 1 inch thick glass. So it'll sit right down in there real nice. So we'll see. I'm kind of working on only 1 door right now. I want to make all my mistakes on this door and find all the cheat sheets, figure out the best way to do this, and then we'll come over and whip out this door real quick. So I just want to make all my mistakes and figure out how the right way to do this, because I've never done this before. So one more thing before it starts raining. Oh, look at that storm. It's been, a little while ago, it was raining, downpour, and then it was like 91 degrees, hotter than you know what. There's a big old cloud right there. Look at that. Anyway, so I did some horse training with a friend of mine. I got this pole Bart welder. I haven't used it enough to see if it's going to be good for this Corten steel and the thickness. So far, I'm all the way up, the highest I can go in the power. And it says it's a handler 125 easy. You can pick up these at Tractor Supply for about probably $150 or so, 150 bucks. I was going to go get a $1,000 one from, what do you call it? From Harbor Freight. The 3-in-1, you know, it has the stick, the TIG, the MIG, and but I got a good deal on this one, so I'm going to use it. It's not a gas. It's the tip is, maybe you can see the tip here. It's just a wire fed. It's a wire fed welder, and it doesn't have gas, but it's flex core. It has a flex liquid or whatever it is in it. So I'm going to use it for a while, and if it doesn't work, I'll let y'all know. I think this is the bottom of the line welders that you can use for this kind of application. So I wouldn't go any smaller than this. This is 110. It runs regular off 110. I think it's like 20 or 30 amps or so. But anyway, I just got it hooked onto the door like that. So I'm gonna have to take this doggone thing apart and find out why it ain't working. If it's not working, we'll go buy a fancy one. All right. So, yes, I know. Randy, you save money on contractor fees, so why don't you put it into good tools? yeah, do what I say what I do. What's the expression? But I got it to work again, but the wire kind of wants to hang up. It's a little bit kinked inside there, and it kind of surges a little bit back and forth. So I know if it doesn't work out, I'll go buy one of those fancy 3-way ones with the 220 and everything. I'll just deal with the 110. Okay. All right. Let me go. I just finished tacking it, so let me go cut the top piece, tack that on, and I think we'll call it day, man. It's almost dark here. And there she blows. Oh, that plasma cutter is the way to go. It is as sweet as you can believe. What it is, if you get a steady hand and you can get that tip just about anywhere you want it. You can go right there. I didn't burn. No, I didn't. I'll show you in a little bit. I didn't burn into any door this time. And oh my God, it's incredible how smooth it is. It's this little, it's like a little arc, a little pinprick, and you can write your name in it. People do anyway. That's how they build fences and stuff and put their, horses and stuff on their fences and stuff. Anyway, and I noticed that like last time, I was a little bit scared to get too far into the metal, into the door, and put holes in the door. So I left a big gap, and then I had to go back and grind it. Well, I found out this time that you can really cut if you get too far away, because you can't always see in these things. So you get a little far out of the door, and you got too much to grind away, right? Because we're gonna put those angle irons on there. So what happens is you can actually take that plasma cutter and trim that real nice. It's just, God, it's like butter, man. It's like butter. It's crazy, but don't go invest in it. Oh, and a welder update. So I was welding up that other door, the angle iron on the other door, and this 110 welder that I got, the cheap welder. It's nice for small jobs and stuff, but on something like this, I know those 110s don't work. What it is, it has a latency issue, I guess. So you start running the bead down, and then about 6 inches or so, 8 inches, it gets too hot, and it wants to poop out on you. So it'll start fluttering, and then it just stops, resets itself, cools down. Yeah, even though it has a fan, it still gets hot. And so what it is on those 110s, if you know anything about electricity, it's a wavelength. It's a 60 hertz wavelength, and you top and bottom, you got off on. It's because it's AC, right? So it's alternating current. So it's on or off. So 220, you got two poles. So when one's on, the other one's off, and when the other one's off, the other one's on. So you get this direct current that just you can just go through it with a 220. Plus with the gas, you run gas in it, gives you a better weld. So I'll probably go run down and get myself one of those 220 welders, 3-in-1, because it's just you can't just go and run 6 inches and have a drink. Run another 6 inches. We're going to be running when we attach these two containers. We're going to be running like a 3-inch, 1/8-inch flat bar all the way across. And so what are we going to do? We're going to weld 80 feet, 40 feet on one side and 40 feet on the other side. That little 110 welder just ain't going to handle it. I'll tell you that right now. It works good for welding up your lawnmower or little odd jobs around the house, but when you got something that's something like this, major price, go get the 220. And we'll talk later about that. Anyway, remember when we removed the hardware in that other episode? These are little teeny ribbit. They look like rivets now after you cut off the bolt. A good idea with these, save them, because I was sitting there last night eating some steak. Why not use the two? If you look up on top, you'll see there's 8 bolts on top, 8 holes, I should say, and then there's 8 holes on the bottom. Theoretically, you could take your hardware and just bolt it back on there, or make sure you save these, because if not, you're not going to put your hardware back on. I know it'd be kind of funny having the glass and the hardware on the other side, but you know, it adds to the look, right? So, but you always put these back into the holes, right? Get out my helmet out of the way. Put those back in the holes, and weld. Put a spot weld on the back side, grind it down, and then you still retain the look of the hardware, kind of, sort of. Anyway, this is an idea. We'll talk about that later. Watch where you step. Broke me. I just think it just snapped back in. Here's your update on the IG doors. I was going to do a full video on start to end, but then I decided to break this video up into two segments, part one and part two. So you're looking at the end of part one. We're going to end this episode. I just want to show you what we've done and why we're ending the episode as we speak. The problem is I haven't decided on color code yet. And so I don't want to install the glass until I've sanded this thing down and then finish priming it and painting it, and then put the glass in last. Plus also too, we got to put some hardware in here. So let me show you something real quick here. So what I did was I went ahead and ground this down and then just ran just some primer to keep it from keep it from rusting. And then we got some holes up on top. So I'm gonna take those also one of the things I'm gonna do on the next video, part two, I'm gonna weld those up, put those little rivets back in there, and then do that. So this video would be too long to watch doing the whole thing. So we're just gonna go ahead and end the video here. Also, one other thing I need to do is, you know, like this is, you know, these are kind of like French doors, right? So usually on French doors, they'll put some type of latch. When you close a French door, there's some kind of latch there. Either they put a latch on here, it goes in a hole in here, or the same thing down the bottom. They'll put a hole here and put a latch. Also, what we need to do is put a handle, you know, a latch and handle. So I've got some ideas on that, but so I'm gonna do a video just because, you know, obviously we took the, you know, the handles and latches and hardware off of the thing. So now we got to substitute some kind of external handle to enter it. But all in all, I'm pretty happy. So there's the angle iron all the way around. I don't have much gap here. I really like how it turned out. I'm really happy with this install. So we're gonna leave it for now. And thank you for watching part one of the installing these IG units. And then the next video, it'll be a finished project. So lots of little projects on these things. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.